Hi, this is Mike Hendrickson from AI in San Francisco. I'm here with Lili. Lili, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
So you're at Microsoft, and you gave a keynote this morning about AI and mimicking the real world. Can you unpack that a little bit on a high level, what it was about?
Sure. I mean, I think one of the things that's interesting about AI is it's just important for us all to think about like what really inspires us. So I think for this talk, I thought, hey, let's take a step back and maybe share some of the projects that we're working on that are a little further out and that really inspire us to think differently about how we solve the problem.
And then if you could, let's transition into the real world. Like, that's further out, but
Right.
What are you seeing in the real world with people trying to use AI? Some interesting use cases.
Yeah, sure. So Microsoft, one of our biggest businesses is really housing companies' data that they have to do work within their company. And so, we've always had this business model where data privacy is really critical, and groups of people that you work with is really critical, and getting work done is critical. And so a lot of those same customers are obviously our cloud customers, our Azure customers, and they're coming to us with these same challenges that they have a lot of data, but it's very proprietary. It needs to be secure and safe. And they want not only to make the interactions that they have in their company better, but they want to make how they interact with their customers better. So today, if you think about what company you feel like picking up the phone and calling, it's not a lot, because I think we haven't really done a great job, especially with big companies, of saying, interact with us in a personal way and let us make that experience great. So just for starters, I think we focused a lot on bots and conversation and some of the cognitive services, and a lot of companies are saying, hey, this is a problem for us, and we want to start really, in the heart of what our business is, which is about reaching our customers and how to make that better. And then from there, we usually say, well, that's great, but you need, it needs to work in all the regions that they work in. Each region is different, customers are different. How you connect with other secure data sources that you have is really important. And then also, how do you make it interesting and appealing, and how will your customers respond to AI, right? What are they going to feel like? How can you experiment as quickly as possible with probably as low risk as possible? So one of the things, I think just the word AI is so inspiring for people, maybe more inspiring than the word web browser or mobile phone, equally disruptive. But I think just the words make people think about, okay, what should I be worried about? Like, what's my company going to be in 3 to 5 years? And they could have already been asking themselves those questions, but I think the term is making them ask themselves that.
And that's a lot of the large companies that are in their transformation, their whatever they want to call it, digital transformation or their IT transformation. They're looking at not getting disrupted by the disruptors who
Right.
are also looking at AI to take over the large markets. So we have that kind of dual world going on right now where, and I like that idea that the large companies are trying to figure out, what does AI mean to them?
So for me, it's been so fun, like sitting down and talking to, not even like the big, huge companies that you would expect, but like, we talked to a bank in Japan, or the government in Australia, or some automation company, that just everybody is thinking about this. And probably the way that it connects back to the talk that I gave is they want all of this intelligence, not just in the cloud, leveraging like all the public data that we have, but they want it like on the edge, right, in whatever it is that they sell. And those devices aren't always connected. So a lot of the challenges that you saw that are pretty far out, really, with the Glideplane is like, how can these run autonomously? How can they just run with power, self-heal?
Yeah.
How do you update them? How do they be run really well locally or offline or in my data center or just in my subscription, not connected to things? And then how do I make sure it can get updated and like improves? Because AI is improving, it seems like every day, pretty much. We roll new stuff out. And so how do they make sure they get the latest technology, or the technology that maybe isn't the very, very latest, but maybe has been proven and tried by more people?
So in your example today, the Glideplane, that's not that far out. I mean, it's already in
Right.
practice and being used, so the way technology moves so quickly, That's what, 6 months out?
Well, I think actually making it work for real, safely, for days.
Repeatedly.
Repeatedly.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the challenges, some are probably policy challenges and, you know, a lot of other challenges. So what was so cool about that is it made you maybe think about, well, these things could use power in a really different way. So they could be solar powered, they're low power, they're using the air to do things. So like, just what could that enable? Maybe it could allow us to do lower cost, you know, I don't need router. It could allow you to do lots of things. So, you know, that particular team is just really inspiring because I think for all of us, those technologies, yeah, they're not that far out really, and they're making their way really quickly back into the tools that we make available to everybody. So that's been, I mean, Microsoft Research, you know, I was in Microsoft Research forever, and I feel like we're, you know, we always had pretty much every research topic, vision and speech and language, and one really cool thing is all of the focus on AI is really, well, what scenarios, all these scenarios need all these pieces together, so it's really bringing all these groups from all these different countries together. So just for me, that's been super fun to have the research stuff really be together with the product.
So what's old is new again, and it's kind of because AI was around back in the 80s, mid 80s, and it's now back here. So if you looked out, let's say a year from now, we sit down and have this conversation next year, what would you like to say Microsoft is doing differently at that time? And what would you like to see happen in the industry in general as well for 12 months from now?
I guess in the industry for companies, I guess I would love it if they really were engaging us, their customers, in a way that you really wanted to interact with them all the time. I mean, it's not, and maybe some companies you already want to interact with all the time, but a lot of them you really don't.
Yeah.
And so why do you want to interact with a company? I mean, do you need to? Like, what is that dialogue that you're having with the businesses all around you? And it could be a big business, it could just be a small business. So I think in order for business to thrive, and our hope is that there are many, many businesses in this world versus 2 or 3 big giant businesses that basically swallow everybody else up, because I think we need that as a society. We want business to be healthy, and governments and schools and other organizations. And so in order to make that economy healthy, I think we need to think about, you know, what maybe have tech companies learned to do that, you know, that we can share
The rest, yeah.
and give to everybody else. Because for all of us, I mean, it's really hard to hire like these AI rock stars. And, you know, we're lucky that we have a lot of them. But, you know, if you're a normal small company or a company, like you probably aren't going to be hiring a lot of AI researchers. And it's just really cool that all the big companies, we're sort of out there just sharing what we have. And I think that that's really unprecedented. And, you know, it's fun. And most companies make sure that the technologies can kind of mix and match, which I think is also pretty neat. But I think the addition of you can own your data and your data can be private is kind of disruptive for a lot of cloud businesses, and I think will just kind of makes you build the AI in a really different way.
It'd be kind of nice if we could share the algorithms, not the data.
Right.
You know, so that everyone can do better together and make better AI useful for everyone.
Yeah, we're hearing a lot of our developers, because we do the developer tools, and I think we have, you know, I mean, it's kind of amazing. We have like 200,000 developers building bots, and like, you know, just who would have thought, right?
Putting them out, yeah.
And I think we hear that a lot from people, like, hey, I've built these AI models, or, you know, with all of our cognitive services, one of the things that's unique is we have these models, but then you can very easily customize it. So we're finding that almost anything you want to do, you don't just want like the global definition of a person or a place, like you have different attributes for a person, maybe based on what your company does, and you want to be able to customize those models. And then we're finding people are saying, hey, I've made all these customizations, can I share that with my team? Can I sell these? Can I have a business around that? And then below that, not just the models that you can customize, but can I make my own models and share those? So people, I think you're right on. I mean, I think we're going to see that in a year, where people have a bunch of custom domains that they're doing things for in speech and language and vision, and they're going to combine those, and they're going to want to be able to leverage and reuse that. And you're already kind of starting to see it, but it would be really cool if we made sure that those can interoperate in some way, so that you're not having to say, yeah, but I started with this tool, so now I really can't port those around.
Yep, excellent. So 12 months from now, we'll sit down and we'll check in and see how things have gone.
Yeah.
Thank you
Be
so
great.
much, Lili.
Thank you.